Hey guys, Derek Afasi here. Today's topic, I want to discuss thrift savings plan withdrawals and go over the most common mistakes that individuals make when they're trying to take out withdrawals from their thrift savings plan accounts. And before going into more of the details on when somebody's eligible to take withdrawals from their thrift savings plan, I want you to categorize your specific need into two main areas. Do you want to take out withdrawals to create a type of income related strategy and produce some sort of max cash flow throughout retirement? Do you need income for some sort of short term need to pay off a debt or make a purchase on a maybe closing cost on a home or on a business? What is the purposes or what are the purposes to pull out these monies for some sort of income related play? And then the opposite side is, are you trying to take out a withdrawal because you could put yourself in a better position by rolling over your thrift savings plan into an IRA and create a better growth opportunity than it sitting in the thrift savings plan account and some of those limited funding options? So I'm going to delve into both of those areas, go over different examples, and then explain how individuals could put themselves in a better mathematical move based on what's going to be best correlated to their specific goals and needs. Now, to start off, when is somebody eligible to start taking withdrawals from their thrift savings plan account? And employees of the federal government are at a huge advantage. One is that they have something known as the three-legged stool, where when they decide to stop working for the federal government based on X amount of years of service that they put into the system, they're going to be receiving a pension income. They can be receiving Social Security income. And then they also have this thrift savings plan account, this retirement bucket. They've been placing dollars into, making contributions into, they've been getting matching money into, and been growing as they've been working. So they can utilize a thrift savings plan bucket towards some sort of retirement income goal or retirement planning goal and accomplish it that specific way. But another advantage beyond the three-legged stool is that individuals are eligible to either roll over or fully withdraw their thrift savings plan monies once they hit attained age 59 and a half. So this does not mean that the individual needs to stop working for the federal government at 59 and a half. That means if, let's say, somebody wants to retire at age 65 and they're 60 and they're watching this video and they're saying, wow, I didn't realize that. I feel like I could put my money to better use off of the dollars that I've already accumulated into my thrift savings plan. I could put this to better use by rolling it out into an IRA or multiple IRAs that will accomplish my income maximization goal or my growth planning goal to put me on a better trajectory for a more complete retirement. So they could ultimately do the in-service, it's known as an in-service withdrawal, but you're not actually withdrawing the money, you're just rolling it over into another qualified account or Roth related account based on what sort of thrift savings plan account that you have created, a traditional or a Roth. Also, if somebody used to work for the federal government and maybe they stopped working then when they were in their 40s or early 50s and they didn't necessarily retire from the federal government, but they did accumulate dollars in their thrift savings plan, where those individuals, where they're no longer working for the federal government, they're eligible to take those dollars out of their thrift savings plan. And they could do that in the form of a withdrawal, or they could do it in the form of a rollover, like I'm mentioning throughout the different benefits in this video. So if no longer a federal employee, you stop working there, just like if you stop working for a private company and you're eligible for your 401k, same situation goes. If you stop working for the federal government, you now have a thrift savings plan sitting there where you could make better use of that. And then lastly, which is kind of within that same breath, is retired as a federal employee. So let's say that you're working as a federal employee. You decide, okay, maybe I'm 57 years old and that's when I want to retire. I want to start taking out some pension income at that point. And when you stop working as a federal employee and you ultimately hit your retirement date where you're no longer working there, that now makes you eligible to take the remaining portion of your thrift savings plan and roll that out, or take in the form of systematic withdrawals. And there's a whole multitude of different things that you could do. So be mindful of the different eligibility on those three main areas: 59 and a half, old thrift savings plan, or when you retire. That's when you're eligible, and that's where this video would be very useful with seeing whether or not you should leave the dollars in their savings plan, or take the monies and do something else with it. Do something else that's going to put you in a better mathematical position. So now we understand that there's ways that you could remove dollars from your thrift savings plan, but you might be asking the question, does that make sense to actually do it? And it depends. If you're trying to accomplish some sort of income related goal that the thrift savings plan will not accomplish, by itself, or there's a way on how you could optimize your dollars by creating a customized IRA and taking your thrift savings plan monies and rolling it over into one or multiple customized IRAs. So you're keeping it within like to like terms. So if it's a traditional thrift savings plan, those are qualified pre-tax retirement dollars, meaning that the monies are growing tax deferred. So you would roll those monies. You wouldn't take a withdrawal out and dump it into your checking account, because the checking account's a non-qualified account. What you would do is take those monies from the thrift savings plan and you would roll it over into a traditional IRA. So it's keeping it pre-tax, qualified to pre-tax qualified in that situation. And the reason why people would do this is because, first off, a thrift savings plan account is not a plan. It's just a portfolio. So if you're trying to generate income and maybe you have aspirations, and I'll use that age 65 as an example, you have aspirations to retire at age 65, but you're eligible to take out dollars from your thrift savings plan and create a more concrete income strategy than just leaving it in that thrift savings plan. Be mindful of how the thrift savings plan account grows. It grows by the contributions you're placing into that plan, the matching money that you're getting placed into that plan, and then the different investments that you could choose. So your bucket is just growing, growing, growing. It's more on that growth related goal. But if there's ways that, let's say at age 60, because you've at least attained age 59 and a half, you could take out a portion or all those dollars and create some sort of income strategy to get triggered at age 65, that could put you in a much better mathematical move, because you could receive income that you could never outlive, in conjunction with Social Security income, in conjunction with the pension income. So you could have these different spigots, these different buckets that are turning on, all at that individual's ideal age, let's say 65 or 63 or 67, or whatever that case is, that could be significantly higher than them trying to just grow that account and hoping that that account's going to be fat enough to therefore keep it invested and then try to take out monies as that bucket's going to basically ebb and flow with the market. So there's a lot of really neat ways, but that's what it comes down to: strategy. It comes down to understanding what are your expenses as you're working, and then what are your expenses going to be throughout your retirement, and then layering out what your bucket is into a better customized route. So if we take the example that, let's say somebody accumulated $500,000 and they're age 60, and they want in their thrift savings plan account, and they want to ultimately retire at age 65. And they say, okay, I understand that at age 60, my expenses are going to be X. But at age 65, I might have a reduction of expenses. I might have an increase of expenses because I really want to, live my life for the first 5 to 10 years in retirement. So I want to make sure that I have the maximum amount of income sources. The importance of that specific situation is creating a maximum income strategy to make sure that your income is going to be greater than or equal to your expenses. And if it's for you and your spouse, all sets of incomes are going to basically last you for the rest of both of your lives, something that you cannot outlive those income streams. So in that example, maybe the $500,000 that's sitting in the thrift savings plan account, it makes mathematical sense to take $200,000 and place it into an IRA or multiple IRAs that are going to trigger maximum cash flow at that age 65 marker. So that in that example, that individual now has $300,000 remaining. So maybe out of the 300,000, they want to leave some money into some sort of safety related play and leveraging, shorter term bank CDs or money market related accounts. And they want to take a portion of those dollars and maybe take anywhere between 3 to 12 months of whatever their expenses are and keep them to some sort of liquid related account, liquid related play, something better than keeping the dollars in that thrift savings plan. So maybe out of the 300,000 that's remaining in that scenario, that individual takes 50,000 and places it into an IRA with a money market account of that short-term, bank related CD. So now that leaves 250,000 remaining that they could set up as some sort of growth trajectory. And now an individual could have a ton of fun with it. Something that could produce higher growth than just staying in those limited funding options within the thrift savings plan. So really the trick is making sure that you're creating multiple sources of income that last as long as you do. But then a step further on that is making sure that you're also incorporating for taxation on that income. Because if you're taking out dollars from tax deferred accounts and pre-tax retirement accounts, that can not only increase the amount of ordinary income tax on your money, but then it could also increase the amount of Social Security taxation. So by having Uncle Sam as your additional partner that you never wanted in retirement, by not creating some sort of strategy to maximize out your different income sources and make sure that you're squeezing out the most amount of tax-free Social Security income and tax-free retirement-related income, everything could encompass itself on a much larger scale and make sure that you're netting more dollars in your pocket, using less dollars out of your accounts so that it puts you in a much more beautiful scenario to be able to accomplish your retirement need and in conjunction correlate to never outrunning those, never running out of those dollars, never running that well dry in retirement. The next important goal that an individual may be trying to accomplish is trying to create a much larger growth on their account. So remember how that account grows, how the thrift savings plan account grows. It grows by the contribution somebody's placing into that plan and then the rate of return that's coming back. The rate of return, and really kind of the downside to thrift savings plan accounts, is that you're limited on the amount of investment options that you can choose to try to grow those dollars. There's only so much juice that you could squeeze out of those limited funding options. If you want to go into something that's producing a fixed rate of return, well, then you might just have that G fund. If let's say you want to be, aggressive with the monies, well, then maybe you might just have an S fund or an I fund, and they're very basic components. So by taking your dollars out, whether you hit age 59 and a half, whether you stopped working as a federal employee, and this is an old, thrift savings plan, and you're still, working throughout retirement, you didn't quite hit retirement yet, or you did hit that retirement age and it was before 59 and a half, but you stopped working for the federal government as a federal employee, you are eligible to take those dollars out or a portion of those dollars and roll it out of your thrift savings plan into an IRA. So what that's doing is it's the difference between limited investment options versus unlimited options. So maybe you want to go into a high fixed rate account, something that's higher than the G fund. Well, you could do that with an IRA. Maybe you want to have something that is going to grow at a much higher basis and have more volatility or more reallocation mechanisms than a typical, just basic thrift savings plan. Something that you're utilizing low-cost index funds, but it has much higher quality than the low-cost funds that you have in your thrift savings plan. So it could give you a much higher rate of return and really grow those buckets, further and further. Those are some of the different reasons why somebody would take the dollars out and place into an IRA or multiple IRAs to have it serve a specific purpose. Growing your account, and once you get up to that stage where you've already accomplished your income need and you have a baseline on your income and you have a baseline on what you have as your emergency, your emergency funds, your savings components, that's where everything becomes fun. So even if I'm going back to the example of 500,000, maybe an individual is underneath their cusp of what their expenses are by just their pension income and their Social Security income alone. And now this 500,000 doesn't even have to be utilized towards some sort of income strategy. They might say, okay, I have this 500,000, maybe I'm going to leave 50 grand in a in a money market account in some sort of non-invested position that I could access at any time in case of that rainy day fund. And now in that scenario, that individual has $450,000 to play with. So now you could start getting into more of that legacy related planning. If also strategies that if they understand you utilizing pre-tax traditional TSP accounts, you're going to be susceptible to required minimum distributions. If you're still working or if your cash flow is significantly higher than your expenses, you could leverage certain tax-free strategies to take your monies from tax-deferred aspect and place that into tax-free related accounts. You could do this in the form of conversions. You could do this in the form of withdrawals and paying the tax. There's a whole multitude of different things, but it really comes down to creating a strategy, not just having a number, not just saying, "Up, I have this big fat TSP account and everything's just working okay, and I just gonna set it and forget it." That's not having a plan. That's just having a portfolio, and by not having a plan, that could result in retirement failure. So I hope that these portions make sense, that really the individuals that typically take monies out of their thrift savings plan is because they want to really maximize what their income goal is, or they want to maximize what their growth related goal is, or a combination of those two to make sure that they're putting their chips in a better trajectory than just staying put in that thrift savings plan. Where we help out individuals on a national basis is regarding how to take out those withdrawals and really encompass a plan to make sure that they're not falling victim to the most common mistakes. Some of those mistakes are just having a portfolio, just trying to create some sort of number and have a wealth accumulation strategy instead of a wealth preservation and distribution strategy that's going to line up to that individual's goals. Not having an income plan where they may be stepping up in income, making sure that they're receiving X amount of dollars between the ages of 65 to 70, and then have a higher step up from 70 to 75, a higher step up from 75 to 80. How to make sure to ladder those strategies properly. Also, make sure that they're encompassing or they're being mindful of what are some of the extra related costs along the way, healthcare related costs and long-term care related expenses that individuals fall victim to that could really put a damper on a retirement success. Comes down to estate planning. Individuals trying to create some sort of estate plan or not having their beneficiaries named correctly on their accounts. And lastly, that the tax planning aspect. Tax planning is so crucial, especially in today's times regarding the lower tax rate environment, with projections that taxes are going to be significantly higher in the future. So you want to take advantage as you're working, as you're eligible to take your dollars out and either do withdrawals or do rollovers, and make sure you're doing conversions and you're taking your dollars from those taxable accounts or those tax deferred accounts, and you're seeing what's the correct mathematical move to make those tax free, to reduce the amount of Social Security taxation throughout retirement, to reduce the amount of RMDs or eliminate your RMDs throughout retirement. And all of these different things, they basically stack up on top of each other. So at any point in time, what we're doing is we're offering any individual that's watching this video a free 20-minute strategy session by clicking on the calendar link. The calendar link is going to be in the description of this video, where you could set up an appointment directly to speak with an advisor, or you could call our 1-800 number that's up on the screen. It's 1-800-566-1002. Now, a caveat to that, though, is where do we not typically help out individuals? And those are for individuals that maybe already have more than enough income in retirement. Maybe they have all their income in different tax-free related sources. Maybe they're working with competent advisors that are, speaking with them every month and have, created a strategy to eliminate the biggest mistakes with retirement planning needs. What we've noticed is that typically individuals are not set up on the correct trajectory. And even if they had an existing advisor, that advisor might only leverage growth components or safe related components. So they don't encompass a holistic plan. We have a trademark process known as the retirement diet plan, which helps us look at it from a larger view and see where's the individual right now, where they're trying to get to, so with the point A to point B, how to make sure that they're making certain tweaks along the way and holding their hand to say, yes, it makes mathematical sense to either do this TSP withdrawal, TSP rollover, and make sure that's going to put you in a significantly better scenario. If you found value in this video, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Retire Sharp, or visit our website, afasifinancialgroup.com. I want to thank you very much for watching this, and we look forward to speak with you. Thanks so much.